Welcome back. We turn our attention now to electricity matters, metering specifically. There's this February 28, 2017 deadline given to DISCOs to meter certain consumers, which we'll find out in a moment. We're joined now by Muideen Ibrahim, who is Executive Secretary, Electricity Meters Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is something that concerns every Nigerian. When you talk about metering, everyone is anxious about it. And you, metering manufacturers, this deadline that was given to the DISCOs, which we haven't heard much of, are they in communication with your group, meter manufacturers, about this? What can you tell us about it?
Well, first and foremost, we like to state that the deadline, as it were, was specifically for maximum demand meters. You know,
for
there
multinationals or for transformers?
For transformers, that is for estates and for companies. So, you know, we have categories of meters. So that one is maximum demand meters, MD for short. So it is only the NEC, the regulator, that will be able to ascertain whether or not the DISCOs met the deadline as at yesterday. But I am aware that the DISCO patronized some of our manufacturers, members, you know, as per the maximum demand meters. So, but as I said earlier, it is only the NEC that can say categorically whether or not they met the deadline.
If your group was to meter the whole of Nigeria, how long will it take?
Well, fundamentally, there's a gap, and the metering gap in Nigeria is about 3 million as we speak.
Just 3 million?
3 million as we speak. Statistics, the data available as we speak.
That sounds as though that's not entirely what it
That's
should
not
be.
entirely, but I'm talking as we speak with data at hand. They can meter our members because they have the capacity, all of them, to produce nothing less than 200,000 per month. So, and if there is demand, it's a function of demand, they will double up their production and they'll be able to meter the whole country.
But I understand that there's some variables now. I mean, now that you have these fluctuations in foreign exchange, are your members still able to meet up with those demands?
Well, actually, that has been a very, very tough or tall order. And they are finding it very difficult with respect to Forex. We have written so many letters. We have made demonstrations to the government. And I believe the government is looking at it. And this is an opportunity to also put it before the government. There is need to assist them with respect to Forex so that, you know, they import some basic components that are not readily available here. You know, it is sad and disheartening that LMA petrochemical is not forthcoming with respect to some of these chemicals that can easily be produced there. And some of our members, to the best of my knowledge, have made demonstrations to them, they are not forthcoming. Supposing LMA petrochemical in Port Harcourt is working as supposed to work, there may not be basis for some of them to look or demand for Forex. That alone is putting a lot of pressure on Forex. And I think the government should also give them a special Forex window so that they can have access to Forex. And not only that, they should also give them a special intervention fund in a single digit so that they can do more for the country. Because that sector, I want to say emphatically, can arrest a lot of unemployment that we have in the country as we speak.
Is there any platform, pardon me to button, is there any platform that your group has with government authorities? I understand they have several groups now. They have private sector, they have ease of doing business committee groups or advisory committees liaising with government to see how they could improve things in the country.
Basically, we are under the platform of MAN, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. But at times, you know, the point is that each group we still have to fight. You know, fight, I mean, is to still have to make advocacy to the government, you understand, so that the government can give them soft landing, as it were. But the situation is critical. It's affecting them with respect to importing basic raw materials, and which is also affecting production. They can do more if they are actually encouraged. Let me just give you sort of an insight to what is obtainable in other climes. Let me use China as a case study. Number one, China encouraged them a lot, I mean the governments, and aside from encouraging the manufacturers, especially the meter manufacturers there, they also give them special window in respect to interest, single digit. But here, reverse is the case, double digits, and at the end of the day, you may not be able to meet, in terms of paying back what you have collected. So I think the government should come out and assist them. That is the only way, so that they can do more for the country.
Now let's look at your business specifically, and you're in the business of producing the meters.
Yeah.
If you continue in this way, are you getting the demands from the discos? Are they patronizing you, and not to what extent?
Well, the patronage is not encouraging as we speak. They have the capacity, but the patronage is not there. It's very low compared to what is expected. Take for example, an average Nigerian wants meter. An average Nigerian needs meter. An average Nigerian wants value for money. But as we speak, that value is not being derived because the meters are there in the warehouses, but the demand, I think, without holding brief for the discos, I think they have fund challenge. So procurement is basically becoming a challenge to them. And, so because the funds are not readily available, so they're finding it very difficult.
So this is going to be a slow process that we're looking at for a long time.
Well, I think this is the time for the government to come in. And I also want to put it, to the government now. I think it is high time something like a metering conference is held in the country, as is done in South Africa and other climes, so that we can think holistically and see how we can arrest the situation. We can bend backward to move forward. How do I mean? The government can come in, see the challenge or the challenges that these discos are facing. This is the challenge or challenges the meter manufacturers are facing, and everybody will come round the table. Then we have a think tank group along that line. Then we provide solutions.
A lot of debate about whether government should come in, where and when they should come in. Because there are those who think, why should government come in? Because these are private concerns. Because if government is coming into that private business, does that mean that government will also come into every other private business? Because they invested in that business, having done their feasibility study, knowing what they were going to expect.
Well, the challenge as we speak now is that a lot of Nigerians are facing that hardship. Don't forget that the meters are there. There is demand from consumer. An average person, an average Nigerian wants meter, as I said earlier on, but the meters are not provided as we speak. So this is the time for the government to look at the problem critically and holistically. It does not necessarily mean that the government will give them money.
Reason with me on this.
Yeah.
Does it make sense that people will individually buy the meters from you?
Of course, yes. There is no law that says it is only the disco that had the prerogative right to buy. I think it can be liberalized. Come to think of it, there was a time in this country that phone was not meant for every Tom, Dick and Harry. But as we speak, that same phone is now used by every Tom,
you
Dick
sell
and
the
Harry.
meter, so you will always say yes that they should buy from
So the only thing that will be done after purchase is that you take it to the disco and you key it into their system.
Why
it's going to be a win-win situation in that regard.
But you heard the argument that government has given about this same question. How I think the minister also spoke about this, saying no, at the moment they don't think it's a good idea because of certain configurations. You can't just walk in and buy any meter. There has to be certain standards. You heard the argument, haven't you? What do you think of it?
The standard, there is a body that regulates meter production in terms of standardization.
Which body?
That is NEMSA. Nigerian Electricity, NEMSA is in Abuja, and they have a meter test station at Oshodi here. So they regulate meters. If the meters are readily available, there is a standard. Let me tell you something. A pin, if it is uniform and is produced by all the meters, just one specification, a meter, somebody can be producing that, and that will run into millions of pins, and that will create jobs and allied services for other Nigerians. This is a chain, and it's a chain of reaction. So, but when we have a lacuna now, the best bet for us is for the government to come in, the regulator, and see what are the challenges. Let's put heads together, let's judge and provide solutions so that we can move forward, rather than merry-go-rounding within the same circle, often and often, saying the same thing.
Markwe's got a question for you. Markwe?
Well, it's very disturbing to hear that, it doesn't look like much progress has been made. But what happened to CAPMI? I mean, CAPMI was a system where people could get their meters from you directly and then be able to, the discos will eventually bear the cost for that by removing monies from their bills or deducting what the meter costs from their bill. What happened to that process? Why was it discarded?
Well, thank you very much. I think CAPMI was discarded because the discos were not really implementing it then to the letter. This is a scheme that was good in such a way that the funds were readily available, but the regulator was not comfortable with the implementation, and that was why it was stopped. So it's as simple as that, because I was at a meeting when the regulator frowned specifically at the way CAPMI was being implemented, and they gave a timeline that it to be stopped, and it was stopped. I even advocated that CAPMI was a stopgap then, that it should be, the timeline should be extended. I was there at Abuja in that meeting. I advocated, they said no, there's a timeline because they are not happy because of the way it was being implemented by the disco. So they have to stop it, and the disco should meter everybody. They started with maximum demand meters first, and I'm sure very soon they will extend it to other meters, single phase, 3-phase units.
Okay, then Mr. Muideen Ibrahim is the Executive Secretary, Electricity Meter Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, we'll be back in a moment. We'll have time to take a look at some of the questions and comments you've sent to us. Join us again.